the beautiful city of North Miami. All right, if I could get a roll call, please, from our secretary.
Okay. Naomi Blemur,
Present.
Lola Capers, Ebony Crispin, Marie France Jean Farron, Michael McDermott, Andrea McDonald here, Evan Shields,
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy,
Here.
Nikisha Williams, Gerda Theodore, Edwidge Clark.
Here. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Wonderful. I will entertain a motion for approval of minutes from our September 13th, 2023 meeting.
So move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, let's move to our presentation of our 2023 AHAC report and approval of 2023 incentive strategy recommendations. I will defer to staff as to a very quick recap of where we are on this report, where we are on recommendations, and best next steps before we move to new business.
Good morning, Albert Bazil, Housing and Social Services Director. This year, as noticed in, I believe, in our report, if you look at the first paragraph where we mentioned the multiple meetings that we have, basically we are scheduled to have 6 meetings per year. We had all 6 meetings with the exception, I believe, the first one in January. Where we discuss, as recommended by the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, all the incentive strategies for the 2020-2023 fiscal year. Just a reminder, once a local government recipient of SHIP funding receive $350,000 and more, it's recommended to have an Affordable Housing Advisory Committee whose principal role is to review all the 11 incentives, make recommendation, and then approve it on a public setting as we are doing today. Then this approval is, once approved, it will be forwarded to the council board for final approval and then to be forwarded to the state. This year, the board reviewed all the incentives, and the chair, I think he's going to elaborate on that, make the decision really to discuss 2 of them, density flexibility, and then the community land trust. There is no community, it's land trust, land bank inventory. So we refer so many times to the community trust that we think it's the title. So Ms. Blamey did a presentation at the last meeting that we had about her recommendation, her vision of the land bank inventory. This is summarized in line item J, page 6 of the report. Density flexibility was deferred for next year. And upon agreement of all members of the board, all the other item is the status quo. We didn't change anything in them. They're gonna remain as is for this 2020-2023 report. That concludes my presentation, Mr. Chair. I don't know if you want to add something.
Excellent, I sure would. Just as a quick aside here, this board, this is our second year as a board. We actually had not existed previously since 2009, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, Ms. Marie. Yeah, the last time was 2009.
The last time that the city had an Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. So just as a recap for those watching and present, we met for the first time in almost 15 years as a board. Last year, we had an amazing session where we went over all 13 strategies that were required by our Florida Housing Finance Corporation, our state affordable housing agency. And we actually made several recommendations last year that have already been voted and approved by our city council and implemented. And this year, we decided to laser focus on just one strategy that we believe can have a progressive impact in our city, which is land bank inventory. So if I could give a super quick recap. We decided as over the last kind of 6 meetings this year, which were informal discussions to present at this meeting with the leadership of our subcommittee chair, Ms. Naomi Blumer, to really shepherd in the city's first, for land bank inventory, the city's first community land trust. So just last year, we actually voted in that we wanted the city to actually establish one, and the city council supported that. But what we didn't do was set any sort of guidelines for how exactly that should happen. And so this year we laser focused on that and are presenting today what I believe is one of the most progressive affordable housing policies that the city has developed in quite some time. So the larger idea is this, and then I'll yield to other members of our committee, particularly Ms. Blumer, if you want to elaborate on, or Mrs., excuse me, on the policy, is this. The city has public lands that it owns. In fact, as the recent Live Local Act has dictated, has to actually now publicly state on a registry what those lands are. So the idea is, well, wouldn't it be fantastic if those lands were contributed for affordable housing development uses, both single-family homes and multifamily affordable homes? And so the idea of a community land trust is to donate those city lands to a nonprofit community land trust, hopefully a third party outside of the city, so that we're not having to expend additional resources of the city of creating a new agency. But that land trust could then take those lands, strategically apply them for affordable housing uses in partnership with the city, our CRA, and other entities within that we have control of, that where we can put as much time, energy, focus, and hopefully dollars into those development. So that was, high level, kind of the policy that we're suggesting today in our committee meeting. I will yield to other members of our committee if they want to present additional comments on this, and then we can certainly set this up for a more official vote.
Good evening, everyone. Just really quickly, I just want to point out the 3 key next steps that Chairman Shields spoke about on the day that I rolled out what I think would be the future for us. Number 1, how to identify which public city lands are appropriate for a community land bank. How to identify which public city lands are appropriate for a community land bank, those findings with the highest and best community use. That was extremely important for us during that discussion. It is imperative that this process includes public dialogue on land use possibilities. Number 2, establish a community land trust. This may be done concurrently with the first step previously mentioned. Last but not least, incorporate other 10 AHAC incentive strategies in the land trust to get it established quickly. And we truly believe that the quicker we get this done, the quicker we can actually bring the right solutions for our housing needs here in the city of North Miami. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'll just add that after attending the Affordable Housing Conference and, hearing the goods and bads of land trusts and, hearing some of the successes and also some of the horror stories as it relates to land trusts, I would, how do I say this? We're still researching on to see, to make sure that we're going about this in the best manner on the cities, on the council side. Ms. Bazil and I had the opportunity to meet with Habitat for Humanity, and must say I was very surprised by their meeting about the work that they're doing with Habitat for Humanity. For instance, if the city has land, you can go into partnership with Habitat, and they will build the home. They will finance the home to let's say a North Miami resident with a 0% mortgage, which is unheard of. And they're doing it at below cost. So they're literally selling back homes that they're building to the community. But of course, heard some stories that sometimes the houses aren't, that great and so forth. So we're still doing that investigation and making sure that the approach that we do take on the city side is the best one for the entire community. And as it relates to land trust, the only thing that I want us to kind of maybe be mindful of, and when we do move forward with this, if that is the direction, is that the land trust doesn't own the land, because when you own the land, now you're creating restriction for the homeowner, because the land trust then will put stipulation and they'll have to go through hurdles just to add a fence and get permitting. So I want to make sure that whatever that we're doing here, that we're giving the homeowners that accessibility, that flexibility, and that they're owning the home. So I think that is the key thing that we just have to be mindful with as we're moving this proposal along. That would be my only comment.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I would add to that we not only want to create affordable home ownership in our city, but also affordable multifamily housing developments in our city on lands that are hopefully contributed to a land trust. And, either way, it's very important that we have a strategic way of making sure that whatever the development is, that it stays affordable. And I think the most strategic way of doing that is probably through a deed restriction of some sort that states basically, hey, anything that's on this land has to be occupied by a person of certain area median income. Let's say, between 0 and 80%. So that would capture very low income, and lower moderate income residents of our city. So I think either way, we'll probably leave this up to the city to create, and our various departments to create further policy on implementing it. But just to echo what Mrs. Blamura just mentioned, I think the big 3 points of the policy that we want to pass today are this. One, it's incredibly important that the public is involved in anything that's happening with these lands that are contributed for affordable housing uses that are owned by the city. And that whenever there is a parcel of land that's contributed, that the public is engaged in its highest and best community use. Second, that an RFP is presented for those public lands that could be used for affordable housing uses, whether they're contributed to a community land trust or not. And then third, as she stated, that the city and all of its departments use everything in its toolkit to expedite affordable housing, home ownership, and multifamily development, whether that's impact fee waivers, expedited permitting, CRA, vouchers or funds, density bonuses, etc. Incredibly important. So I just wanted to make sure that we encapsulated what our 3-step process is that we're suggesting as a policy and putting forward to our state housing agency. Are there any other comments from the board on this or other policies before I ask for a motion on our policy recommendations?
I just had a quick question. Madam Bazil, based on what Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy stated, is there anything that we presented that would hinder the homeowner from having that power and that authority and flexibility?
That full ownership?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what we realized, based on the conversation that Councilwoman and I had with Habitat for Humanity, and that was one of her questions, sometimes when you have those 99-year lease, this person own the home but doesn't own the land.
Right.
So we want to make sure that if let's say we are developing a single family unit,
Mm-hmm.
Even if this land belong to the community trust, when it's time to sell it to and below 80, 80% AMI, we want to make sure that the land, the building and the land is conveyed to the homeowner as well.
As one.
Yeah, as one.
Got
as
it.
one package. That was the issue because we had some area where it's stipulated now you own like a condominium principle. You own the unit, but you don't own
You don't own the land.
the land.
And there's no way to create generational wealth if you don't own the land
There we
in
go.
addition to the building.
Correct.
Very, very important.
Yep. That was one of our questions.
And I'll also just state for the public record that given we had a very robust discussion and set of policy recommendations last year on the majority of the policies
Yes.
already, we as a committee, in our several discussions, decided not to recommend additional policies for the other, I'd say 10 policies here, just to be, or, excuse me, 12. There's 13 in total, correct?
I got 11.
11? Okay, the other 10 policies. Okay. Well, if there are no other comments, it's incredibly important that we pass a set of recommendations so that our city can use its SHIP and sale and other affordable funds that are designated to us for affordable housing uses. Otherwise, it ain't gonna happen next year.
No.
So with that said, I'll entertain a motion.
Said move. Said move.
I didn't even say what the motion was. You already moved it already, okay. I'll entertain a motion to,
A motion to approve and forward the recommendations of the committee to the city council.
excellent. Is there a second?
So move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Well, it looks like we have, ayes have it, and we have a set of approved policies for our AHAC committee report for the state agency. Moving forward to other items in our agenda, we have a set of meetings already, most of these informal except for one,
Yes.
for next year in 2024. We'll be meeting as a committee on the dates informally of January 10th, March 13th, May 8th, July 10th, and September 11th. I'll note that these are informal meetings that are virtual. They are always open to the public to attend. In fact, a few of them in the past, we've had some public attendees and comment, and we highly recommend that folks look out for those announcements from our city. And then finally, we'll have another meeting just like this on November 13th, which will be a public hearing to review our affordable housing policy recommendations. Is there any other business that this board would like to present before we adjourn?
Question?
Sure.
Albert, at the same conference that the councilwoman was at, I was at one of the discussion items was that some cities are using a housing authority mechanism in order to draw down money from the federal and state governments, but you have to have a housing authority evidently in place. So, but evidently that can positively impact the amount of money that is provided to affordable housing. If you can sort of investigate that a little bit so we can discuss it when we come back?
We can, and I think my former housing assistant director, they started something. I don't think they went anywhere with that. As of now, we only have two public housing authority in Miami-Dade County. It's Miami-Dade County and the city of Miami Beach. They tried. I think they ended up with a 501c3. It didn't go anywhere. It's not something that we can happen. I can reopen the book to see.
Well, the only reason I'm saying the cities that I was with at the FRA, they evidently have been very successful with it. Okay, I think Deerfield Beach was one of them. And evidently they've, maybe things have changed but it seemed to work for them, so.
No, no,
If
no.
I could, if I
totally
just
agree.
may add, I think something else that came up at that conference that I thought was very interesting is that Miami-Dade County is the only county in the state of Florida that does not get to have a developer preference selected when we're going after state funding. So the same funding that Nick is waiting on,
Yeah.
he can't get it because our city can't say that he's our developer of preference. And because we're the only county in the entire, we're the only county in the entire county in the state of Florida that there was like this whole lawsuit, and, you know, I can find the information to send it to you all, but that kind of makes it harder, I guess, to do affordable housing in Miami-Dade County. I don't know if that was their intention or not, but it's something that hinders us from getting state funding, and that's why Nick is waiting so long trying to get those credits, is because we can't list him as our developer preference. The city can't. So Osceola County had a really great project that they were able to do where they had the land, they added CRA dollars, and because they were able to add that preference, they got their funding within 2 years from the state. Yeah, and I thought that was interesting because I'm like, why aren't we, you know, Nick's, you know, his project was ready to go since 2016. He's been waiting on trying to get those same state credits, and it's hard, but now I know why. It's
Yeah.
because Miami-Dade County we're a little special down here.
And
No, but- and something-
maybe that's why Housing Authority, we are unique, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it works in other parts of the state and doesn't here, but let's find out.
No, I can find out, and I don't know, what I noticed with the state at the same conference, one of them that I attended, I don't know if it's on purpose, but certain program right now, they don't allocate the funds to city. The Florida Housing Finance Corporation run the show. The hero that the mayor mentioned, I can tell them to go to their website and how to apply, but the funds is not channeled to the local government. So they are being managed by
By
Florida,
banks
by
and-
Florida
yeah.
Finance Corporation, you know, other organization. They don't channel those funds through. Right now, my understanding is the only funding that come to us is the SHIP. The sale doesn't come to us. The hero doesn't come to us, and we got some others that are out there, but they manage it at the state level.
And they're going through banks, so Bank of America is one, Wells Fargo's is one.
It's a
They're-
complex web of financing.
I don't know.
And it's unfortunate that we have so much red tape at the state level.
Because this one got to me, the hero, and when they're giving you the numbers, how many people. We
And the
weren't
money
even
is
aware.
gone.
The money is gone.
The
We're
money
not
was
even
gone in
aware,
months.
So we can
And it
relay
didn't
the
go to-
information to our people. We have veterans here, we have teachers here, we have workforce.
But they went to those banks, they went to those entities like, you know, Bank of America
Private
got
entities,
piece.
organizations, so we're
And
not
that's why
even
they're-
aware, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've been here for 5 years, and before I was here, I was an affordable housing lender, lending on tax exempt bonds for 4% credit deals in Florida and other states. And a lot of the deals had ship sale and other programs. And it's unfortunate because we would lend to a project that was probably awarded 4 years prior, and they were already in a waiting line themselves for those credits. And the credits go up like the funding runs out very quickly. In January, February, and it's unfortunate because the same, 20 developers end up getting all of the funding in our state, and there's no diversity, and we have to change that.
I have a quick question. Now that we know this, how can we be proactive in ensuring that next time around we are at the table? For example, I'm a former banker for Bank of America. The branch managers in every single community has a certain amount of money to lend to that community. If we're going to be serious about ensuring that our people get their fair share, I think we should create a community relations person that for your department, that's what they do. They know everything that's going on in Tallahassee. They know how much money is available. They know which banks, as Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy just stated, this is the banks. We should have somebody who knows this and who is consistently delivering this information to the community in a timely manner so that those who do fit probably these very narrow criterias would know about it, as opposed to having you go up there and then, you know, as the director,
You got your eyes wide open, huh?
you're like, you never even heard about this. So I think that as we move forward, having that investment and having a community relations person that has that relationship with Tallahassee, specifically working on, you know, the different type of financing that are available and how one gets approved, I think it's something that we should do.
I think we have that in the city.
we
If
do.
I can say the governmental affair management.
No, we have the governmental affairs, but then we also, through our CBO expert resources,
Expert resources.
Danny Felton, who is, believe it or not, Danny Felton, you know, I was giving him a hard time because I told him, hey, you have to advertise a little bit more so people know what's going on. But, and he has gotten better, but he is someone who is known on the national level, who is on the forefront, who is very well known, and he is one of our, you know, first-time homebuyer counselors here in our city.
Wait,
Mhm.
the city of North Miami has a first-time home buyer.
We have two, and then you also have to know NACA is here in our city as
You
well.
didn't talk to me.
No, of
And
course I
no,
know NACA is here,
Yeah,
but I didn't know
they're
that.
also at the library they're there one Saturday of the
One
month.
Saturday
Yeah,
in
and
English,
those
one
information are
Saturday
shared
And how is
New
this
York.
information being shared?
Online, no.
Yeah, if
And
you
I
go
have-
on our
I
first
have-
time home buyer.
Actually, they are one of my sub-recipients. I give them money to teach
Mhm.
those class. No, it's out there.
It's, believe it, like I said.
Listen, I'm not saying it's out there, but I'm just saying,
How are the people knowing that?
how are the people knowing?
So that's
Because
the-
if we know here, that's not out
yeah,
there.
but at the same time, you have to be searching for it. So if I'm a first-time home buyer, I'm gonna say, if I'm like, and I am right now, right, because I'm going through the process, and I'm saying, hey, what information is out there? I'm gonna go out there and look. Granted, I know because, you know, I used to work here, but I will say that those classes are full every Saturday. The Haitian CDC does theirs in Little Haiti. We do 2 here at our library, so you have to get that
So
8
who
hour
is leading the one that is done in North Miami?
expert help and NACA.
Expert, and he is one of my sub-recipients. He received funding.
Yeah, he receives
received
funding.
from us.
And he does the class in Creole
For
and
my
Spanish.
Creole, Spanish, and English.
Okay, and who at the city is spearheading this alongside them?
They're CBO.
They are
No, I mean,
they-
but
they-
who's, obviously, he's doing his part, but how are we here
My
at the
depa-
city?
no,
Her
my
department.
department manage the first-time home buyer
Okay.
funding program. But in order for you to come to me, you have to go through the process with the housing counselors.
And how would someone have known this?
You go to my website, you come to my department, the informations are there.
Well, let's say you come and then you said, I'm interested.
Madam Bazil, Madame Bazil, that is just really, you know, it's like someone saying that, oh, you don't know, you know, you're not progressing because you're not researching. That's not the way it works. In community like ours, we have to champion it. We have to go out there and
no,
do
this
the
is where I'm
work.
going to chime in because I have.
No. I know you have. Hold on.
Let me finish.
I know,
But then
and I don't want to go into the
we're
different
not, but at the same time,
council
too-
person. Hold on. I don't want to go into different council people that are doing.
No, I hear
that,
you.
Mr. Pierre is doing a first-time home buyer workshop in a couple of days. So I don't want to
That's
go
not
into
the
that.
counseling sessions, and that's why I want to make sure that people understand that in order to get funding, in order to get first-time home buyer credits, even to go and get a loan, your bank is going to tell you, hey, we have grants and you have to go through this process. This is just for the first-time home buyer process.
Of course,
So you
yes.
have to be in the midst of the process to understand, and they're going to point you in that direction. And when you get pointed in that direction, the information is there and it is accessible. But you have
For
to
your
be-
own city.
yeah, for your own city, but you have to be the one searching for it. The information is not going to be readily shared for everyone. Every single department is not sharing every single thing that is going on in their department. You have to know to go access it. The same way if, hey, I need to open up my water bill, you know you have to go access the finance department. So I'm not going to, at this point, I'm going to say it's not on staff. And us up here as board members in this committee, if this is something that we want to champion as well, we all have a platform. We can all share this information. If you want to be empowered with that information to share, which we all should be doing as a committee member, we should be putting that information in as well. So I don't just put the onus on them, I put it on us and I put it on the city as well. But when the city has been doing a good job of sharing that information, and when residents do come looking for it, it's readily accessible. That's what I would say, because at one point, Mr. Felton didn't even have a flyer. And I was like, no, we need to have a flyer
Okay,
with
so-
the dates. Yeah.
So just to
Yeah.
just to kind of level the playing field? When did he actually get a flyer?
About a year ago.
So that's what,
Yeah. No, he's been had it, but I'm just saying, like, I ask for, like, you have to ask for it every year, but I'm just saying,
No.
I ask that.
so going forward, personally, as a former banker and as someone who purchased their first home at 25 years old, I understand the power of home ownership, and that is something that I'm extremely passionate about. And so I think that I will be more proactive in asking you what is available and seeing how we disseminate this information and do it. Madam Bazil, I understand, but because, I mean, like, I've been on this board for over a year now, and, you know, in all of the conversations that we're having, of course, I know the banking centers, when you go into them, you say, hey, I'm looking to purchase a home, this is my first time, they got a slew of programs for you. The difference now is us saying, as a city, we are championing first-time home buyerships, and this is how we're doing it. And I do not believe, and I'm going to push back on Councilwoman Cassandra Timothy, I do not think it has been a priority, nor do I think it's been something that has been at the forefront. And I think we can definitely do a better job. Thank you.
Well, you know, I disagree, because we recently approved and made what did we do? We increased it from 25,000 to 40,000. That was, but that was something. No, it was something that me and Albert worked on, because I had to push back on Albert. And that was what, a year in the making. I said, Albert, 25,000 is nothing
Doesn't
right
make the
now.
cut.
And we were able to find a study, made the request at the state, and then that's when we got it approved. But that took a year to happen.
Even if they do have,
It's Mary. Mike.
Oh.
even if they do attend the first time homebuyer class, go to the entire counseling process, if they don't make the amount of money, 30% or below cannot purchase a home based on what the maximum allowed amount in Miami-Dade County is. You have people that have attended those classes because those certificates expire within a year. They have to go back again every year to renew because they're not making the amount of money they are supposed to do for them to become a first-time home buyer. Now, the little $25,000 we do have, this is the one that is allowed between Miami-Dade or SHIP or the HUD level. So sometime if we can obtain or find where we can find subsidy layering with other bank, because in the past, after Andrew and after Wilma, they used to, in NSP, they used to have additional money. They used to do purchase money mortgage, whereas they used to forgive $50,000 for those homeowners so they can have affordable homes. Now they don't have those programs anymore. Even if they were to attend those classes, they will have that certificate. Hey, I'm ready, I'm educated, but they're not making the money. They're not making the salary that they're supposed to have in order for them to purchase a home. Right now, I think it's $275,000.
470.
No.
I worked on it to 470.
She worked on it, and I think we raised it up to 460,000. That was the average, and the state went further to go all the way to 595,000.
Because
I just received the list from SHIP July 1st. That's when their their fiscal year
Their fiscal
start.
year.
That's a game changer because
We've been working. That's why I keep smiling. You know.
No, I mean, but Madam
And you know,
Basil,
we
you have to
probably shouldn't
understand
buy
it's the
half a time.
worst situation when people are doing the work, but the people that need the service don't know.
Don't know. I understand your point, but from when I came on board, we were, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna repeat it. I have to give credit to her. She's being adamant, Albert, there is no home for $270,000 in North Miami. We need to do something. So we work with the state. We got a study that we have to present. We didn't do it. That's the Schimberg study to present our case. We don't. The average home in North Miami is not 270.
And
so
then-
they agreed to raise it to 460,000. And like I said, they went a step further. They just took whatever the average is Miami-Dade County and applied it to us. So
this-
someone now who comes with a $595,000, I cannot say no.
Okay.
Even if my LHAP says 460, the state supersede my
Got it.
LHAP. I have to serve that person.
But there is also a contradiction. I just watched on Tuesday an AMI for North Miami is $49,000.
Jesus Christ.
How are you going to be able to afford to purchase a home?
$595.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
You're gonna have to need 3 families.
And what
in that house.
AMI is that? 60%?
North Miami, yeah.
Miami-Dade County is
It's
74.
30%.
Wow.
Because right now AMI for 80% is $74,000.
Mm.
So even they attend the class, they are prepared, they are well armed to purchase a home.
Mhm.
They do not make
Enough money.
they
And
can
then they
afford
can't
it.
even like,
And
you can't use it for condos and townhomes, right?
Yes,
No.
you
Oh,
can.
you can? You
can.
Yes, you can.
You
Okay.
can.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
And I
that's
don't
good.
know how
'Cause that's
many
the only thing they're gonna be able to
times
afford
they
with that
show
amount.
me here on the podium telling me that I'm sitting on the money. No, I'm not sitting on the money.
People
The money
try.
is here for them, but people, you cannot qualify people. They don't have the means to be
To purchase a
eligible.
home, to be
I have to
eligible to
raise
purchase a home.
my front end ratio, my back end ratio. Basically, I mirror Miami did right now. So to allow people, you know, to get it. But from my time, for 5 years, I only did one person. I assisted one individual to purchase a home.
In 5 years.
5 years.
And I've been talking about it as much as we've done
No.
our radio campaigns and people will
no,
call
he
in.
she did a
Yeah,
campaign
and-
not too long ago. First time home buyer in the radio.
People come
Vice
in, but
Mayor
they're-
Estime, Councilman Crenshaw, the Mayor Albert, you know.
Oh, and I do it every 6 months with Deborah Johnson.
Deborah
And
Johnson.
Deborah, and the reason why I've used Deborah Johnson is because Deborah Johnson used to be our CBO first time home buyer counseling. And from all the ones that I've seen, you have to be careful. Somebody will say home buyer session, and it's really just a session with a realtor. But with Deborah Johnson, because she used to be a counselor, now she's the lender, but then she understands every single grant program from West Palm Beach all the way down to Monroe County. So if you look at her page right now, she was able to close on a home for this young lady, and her mortgage and insurance payment right now is $1,825. She was able to use one of the Miami-Dade County infill program. She was able to get her $128,000 in down payment assistance
Wow.
grant.
That's the only way.
And then, so that means that her loan amount was only $280,000 for a house that she walked in. She already has equity of like 150 because the house was valued at like 425, and she's only paying 280. So when I do my first time home buyer I think we do it every 3 months at the library with Ms. Deborah Johnson. The reason why I utilize her is because she's knowledgeable, she's done it before, and she started off as a CBO. Like, she knows her stuff. But people come to the sessions, they'll sit down, they'll go through it. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's why the money's
And
still
we-
sitting there.
And we're having a big issue with our population. They don't make the difference. I have the down payment assistance, but I'm not a realtor. I cannot go search for a home for
Yeah.
you. So when they walk to me, they want the application. And it's hard to explain to them, you're not at the application level yet. You need to do the search, get your
Pre-approval.
pre-approval from your bank. You need to go take the class. You need to do the affordability.
Do we have a
study.
checklist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. All the steps we send you to the people. It's very tricky in North Miami.
No,
I think what's so important is the bottleneck may not be, and I'm just speaking as a devil's advocate here. The bottleneck may not be that people don't know the program or know about it. The bottleneck may be there's XYZ steps that you're not prepared for,
You know.
just straight up, right? Which might be, okay, the bottleneck might be credit scores. Maybe that's what
Right.
it is. The bottleneck may be
Mhm.
certain forms of income qualification or verification, right? And we need to figure out what that is and create a solution around it. And maybe this might be a priority for us
No,
for next year.
but
So
let me-
Deborah
no, but
has
let me-
created that solution,
And-
like
yeah.
that the model that she uses.
So how about we possibly, I know that Councilwoman has this every 3 months.
Mhm.
Is it possible that she can be a consultant?
No, she can't, because she's a lender now, so she's no longer.
There's a conflict.
Ah, okay, there's
Yeah.
a conflict.
There's
Yeah.
a conflict. And the other thing, to piggyback on what you said, Chairman, there is no instant meal.
Right.
And they need to understand, for instance, if you come, the credit is not good, you need to sit down for 6 months, because the counselor sit down with you.
Mhm.
They go to the report with you.
Does
And
Deborah have a counseling,
Yeah.
credit counselor?
She
Yeah.
brings everyone to the table, and like, if
So they will
I'll
tell
invite you
you-
guys to the next one, so you guys can see it. Yeah, no, because she's very,
She's
thorough.
good. I
Yeah.
attended 1 or 2 of her sessions. Danny is excellent in what
mhm,
he's
Danny as
doing.
well.
Actually, HACDC, he's the one doing my housing classes for my rehab.
Over the rehab,
For the
okay.
rehab, they did the 2 or 3 hours classes for me, how to maintain your home once I'm done repairing them. But the issue we're having, once you told them they have to wait for 6 months, they lose interest.
Because you go to those classes on Saturday,
spread,
you will
not a
see you're gonna have a
marathon.
full house.
Yeah.
But after that class, you must follow with the credit counseling. There are things that you must do because they pull your credit. Just like you said, if you are at the 500 level, you need at least at 640 or 630. They will have to hold your hand to tell you, okay, you have to pay down this,
Pay off this
buy
one.
this, don't do this, don't do that, up until such time. But
Pay off
at
your
that
credit card
time,
debt.
at
It's
that
a
point in
lot.
time, they are discouraged. They thought they were just gonna go to the class, get prepared, and purchase a home.
So now
Sometimes you
they're-
feel like you're giving your firstborn child just to get
I
into
was
a
just
house.
about to say, I mean, I don't want to beat down on the purchasers. It is a
It's so
very
tough.
overwhelming process.
It
And
is.
depending on where you are in your life, where you've never really dealt with your finances, it becomes even more enormous for you. So I think going into it with that understanding that for some people, maybe that's the first time that if they've never purchased a car before, maybe that's the first time that they're pulling their credit and they really know what's on their credit. Whereas other people, I mean, you have Credit Karma, you have all of these things, you know exactly what's on your credit. So I think that, and this is just me, I think that overall we can always talk about what's not working, right? I think it behooves us as leaders who really want to see change within our community is to create more opportunities where, as Councilwoman Cassandra stated, the lady comes with all of the tools and the resources right there and then now it's their choice. Now it's their choice. And if we can create a culture where we are on a monthly basis really, moving first-time home buyership. Even I think there's a month in the year.
April.
That's the time when people definitely want to move in that direction. So whatever it is that we can do, we should be doing. And obviously allocating the human resources with the knowledge so that when someone that is living in the city comes forward and says, hey, I'm interested, even if it's a referral, having a key person who has all of the pieces together that can assist. It's not an easy thing. Nevertheless, it's one of the greatest things that we can do as a community to build generational wealth. And I mean, now's the time.
No, I'm with you, but me, I'm a biggest advocate for education.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a radio person, but I think for my experience, the best way to get to my people,
It's radio.
it's radio. And I don't think paper make it the cut. I don't think the website make the cut. We need to sit down, open the mic, have them ask the question, because you have to make it real for them. When they come to the office, how much time I can devote to sit down and explain it to you? No, it's an 8 hours. I think I need to find a way. I have the funding for that, to have at least once a month, a 1 hour.
You have funding for that specifically?
Yes, I have
Okay.
funding for that. Once a month, we have an open mic. We bring the people. I'm not talking about real estate looking for what the city, what's the component, the down payment assistance. For me right now, after reviewing the whole picture, this is where I am. We need to go down to them where we can get the reception, where we can send the message. That's my take. Because if we don't educate them, this fund is gonna stay in my account, and I'm gonna have to do, after 5 years, a substantial amendment to ask council to remove it from first-time
Wow.
home buyer and put it in rental, in rehabilitation, where I can spend the money, because I cannot keep it forever. AHAC gave me between 4 to 7 years to spend that money. If you don't spend it, they get their money back. So at some point, if I see it's not happening, so I think my plan for this year, hopefully, it's really to have a 1 hour education program for
Once a month.
For first-time home buyer, where they can call and ask questions, because that's the way they communicate. Don't sit down and read for them. They can come, miss, if I bring this, can I have it? If I'm making $10, So then you get into the detail with them. So that's
And put it on us as your committee to be the one that hosts it. So we all commit once a month to making sure that we're there and that we're making sure that we're pushing it out there on all our
Yes.
channels.
Yes.
Because we're, as committee member, I don't think we use our committee members as much as we can. Like you guys are, advisories, they're residents, and of course they're a mouthpiece as well. So that's why we're up here.
But remember, we were kind of hampered with COVID slowly. I have to bring my people, warm them up, but now
Yeah,
I
but
think it's
listen,
the
I
time
think,
to.
I think,
yeah,
listen,
to
at the end of the
open.
day, here's the positive thing, right? We met for the first time in 15 years last year.
Yes.
We got done like, what, 90% of what we needed to do?
Because we
Yes.
met the threshold, so we have to make sure that,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
have to
now
meet
that
the
we've,
funding
and we've
threshold.
also passed a very progressive policy. So now that
Yes.
we've done that, all right, great. As a committee, what else can we be doing for our city for affordable housing development, home ownership, et cetera? I think this is one of those things, and let's prioritize it.
No, and I'm
I
gonna go
agree.
further. It's 11 incentive. At some point, we're gonna be done with
Yeah, we're
reviewing
done.
those incentives. So what are we going to bring on the table? So
Okay, I think
This
that's a
is
great
some-
There we go.
initiative
Yeah,
we can
this-
move forward with.
this is something that we can champion, and there is a way really to make it happen.
Agreed,
Agreed.
absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion before I call for a motion for adjournment? Okay, is there a motion for adjournment?
so moved.
Okay. Sorry, Mike. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
And Albert,